Hey guys, welcome to my season 15.2 or S1.2 tier list, guys. I'm going to be going through every single champion you guys see here, an in-depth reasoning as to why they belong where they are. And as you guys always know, my tier lists are dedicated to people diamond and below. So to get you guys to masters is what this tier list is. Once you're like high diamond and towards masters, the champions change that you need to play. So bear with me as I go through everything for you guys to get to that emerald diamond elo range. To start off with, we have the S tier rank here. We're going to look at our best friend Amumu. Amumu is, if you look at all my tier lists, has always been S tier or around S tier, A tier, S tier, A tier, S tier. He's so powerful, and recently Ludwig hit platinum playing Amumu. Go figure, Amumu's broken SL right now. If you guys can bear with playing a more boring champion for LP, then do it. Ludwig does not know anything about the game. He played 300 games and hit platinum. That's what you can do. If you're anywhere below platinum and you've played this game for longer than Ludwig has, you should question why you're not playing Amumu. I promise you should question that. Anyway, Amumu has gotten 0 changes, literally nothing. He actually like buffed on the Abyssal Mask. Abyssal Mask is a better item now. There's a new map changes. The objectives are more important. There's going to be more fights. When you have like a tank champion, you're going to be really busted overall because you're going to be fighting a lot. His ultimate literally wins any objective fight if you use flanks properly. Super easy champion, guys. Perfect champion for like noob stomping as well. Good clear, good team fighting, good CC, good damage. I'll be making a Mumu video very soon. This champion is literally so stupid broken with the damage you deal. Alright guys, play Amumu. My number 1 advice. Now, the next champion we have here is going to be Wukong. So as for Wukong, Wukong is very OP as well right now. He's going much higher than he was before. Because similar to Amumu, like with games being over, like decided by objectives, having an AoE ultimate that like also does CC and also does so much damage can single-handedly win team fights. So he's actually really OP. You also have to consider that the type of junglers in the meta are bruiser junglers. So again, the meta shifts as we go. Wukong's passive is great against meta junglers. So Wukong's passive is great against AD junglers because you get armor for free. So as the meta shifts, Wukong is getting more and more powerful. So he clears well. He can be a little faster. I mean, he fights well. He has Triforce, really OP. Triforce, Black Cleaver, CDR, high HP, high damage. Really annoying for everyone to deal with. You guys just need to play Wukong well. You can go Mercs and have armor passive. You're really powerful. The thing is, though, guys, you need to be careful with fighting with your ultimates. If you fight and you accidentally just don't have ult, you'll probably lose a lot of things. So you need to learn how to trade. The next champion we have here is going to be Nocturne. So Nocturne is like still as good as every single other tier list as well. Like Nocturne and Amumu are like your best friends in terms of noob stompers and just getting out of the depths of hell. Your ult can literally win the game. It's really strong, clear speed and everything. You win 1v1 against almost all these bruisers, and even like Nocturne, you can sort of beat the Nocturne as even as Nocturne, you can beat the Wukong, which Wukong is also here. You can beat literally everyone as Nocturne. So this champion is ult reliant, but when you have your ultimate, a lot of people are getting caught off guard during the Otacon timer. So you can actually get picks much easier because people aren't thinking about 20 minutes equals Otacon. So you can, do a lot of damage with your ultimate, and even more now because of the Otacon changes. And on top of this, guys, if the enemy panics or loses their mind when you turn the lights off, you hit your ult, you can just one-shot their carries and like win the new Otacon or win the Herald or win the feats, or you'll be able to manage fights a lot better. The next champion here is Mr. Skarner. So I've been wrong about Skarner. I had him at C tier before, and overall, just like Skarner is in a much better place now. To be honest, I actually still have the same belief that Skarner is not a 1v9 carry champion because you're playing a hard tank that's sort of difficult to play. In a sense that everything is a pretty difficult skill shot that you need to land. Versus Amumu, you can literally just like flash ulti and like it's sort of harder to dodge that. In general, though, Skarner deals so much damage. He pins people against the wall. He has high damage, tanky, clear speed's crazy. His ult can literally drastically change his fights, what we call the X factor. And even if you're 0 and 10, you just get like a nice juicy ultimate. You can 1v9 the game. Overall, like Skarner is going to be great because there's more fighting too. So Heartsteel, you can even go Grasp, right? You're going to get hella value. At the moment as well, guys, not many champions can deal with tanks. They've actually like nerfed so many champions in the game right now that we're getting back into tank meta. we love tank meta, and that's just how it is. So it makes Skarner even better. But again, fair warning, if you guys suck at the champion, it's much harder to be a good Skarner versus be a good Amumu. So just keep that in mind. Bear with that. But anyway, Skarner is definitely high up there in terms of how strong he is. Now, the next champion we have here is in the A tier. So everyone in the A tier is champions that you can play if you really love it, you really want to. But honestly, if you're not playing like to have fun or you just want LP, then play the S tier champions. The S tier champions are so powerful. But anyway, A tier, guys. So we have Viego to start off with. Viego is honestly my favorite champion, always will be, or one of them other than Kayn. But Viego is, great because there's so much fighting going on right now. Viego loves getting resets. Viego loves chaos. The champion is really good at farming, fighting, getting resets. The X Factor is great. You can change everything. You have 4+ different build paths. I've covered these in the past. It's pretty much the same right now. You're flexible. You can do everything. You can go Borg, you can go Kraken Slayer, you can go Triforce. You can literally do so many different things. The problem with Viego, though, is if you're lower rank, guys, you might not know the abilities. And if you don't know the abilities to all the champions, then you're going to look like a monkey a little bit. You're going to look like a little silly guy if you don't know the abilities in the game. So that's the only thing you need to think of when you're playing Viego. The next champion we have here is going to be Mr. Xin Zhao. So Xin Zhao is very easy to play. He's very good at ganking. He's strong in team fights. He has really good CC. He's overall one of these champions that I would recommend in general. I almost would put him in S tier, but he's just a little bit harder than all of the S tier champions that currently exist. And you also just have a hard time 1v9 in games. Literally with your E and your Qs, you can actually just like completely stomp any team fight, one-shot the carry, one-shot so many things. He's super strong in skirmishes and 2v2s, 3v3s, even 1v2s. He's literally like a god in the Ripper. He's just like 1v9 every single fight, and that's what's great right now because the meta is all about fighting. We want to get feats, we want to get kills, we want to fight. If you've noticed, there's sort of a trend going on where the meta is just like fighting a lot more crap. We just want to fight things. And even those more peaceful games, like, they happen, but people overall are fighting more. And even if you get behind on Xin Zhao, you can go in, use your ultimates, and always be useful because your ulti actually is so broken when you don't get hit by anything. Really broken ability. Our next champion here is going to be Jarvan. So Jarvan will always be a good solo queue jungler. You're very good at ganking. You're very good at team fighting. You counter every single immobile carry in the game with your ultimates. I think Jarvan ult against Mel will still work, and just like, Mel is immobile, that's why she's weak, so you can still ult the Mel and be somewhat useful, but like, overall, Jarvan just has that power to change fights with your ultimates. It's going to be like brought up pretty often, but like any champion that likes fighting a lot right now will be amazing. Any champion that likes to come to fights and just use your EQ, your ulti, and to punish people is going to be the champions we want to be looking at and talking about at the moment right now. And it's like pretty straightforward champions as well, like nothing too difficult. Like we're not trying to play like a Vi. Vi is like much more difficult than a champion like Jarvan, to be honest. Let's take a look at Volibear here. So Volibear is actually very similar to Jarvan. So Volibear is really good at ganking, and every like 4 minutes, like you'll have Cosmic Insights, which means your flash will be back up. And any champion that's sort of immobile or doesn't have cleanse, you'll be able to literally one-shot them. Q, prep your E, and then flash stun, ulti, combo, easy play. You'll be absolutely able to one-shot them. Not as like OP as Jarvan necessarily when someone's flashless, but still very powerful because you win 1v1s, you have good objective control, you're good in the early game, and you actually scale decently to be tanky enough. You go Sundered Sky into Deadman's, and you also have a good amount of damage, to be honest. Our next champion here is going to be Warwick. So Warwick has been like really powerful because we've been talking about chaos and fighting and what's going on the map. And there's literally no jungler in the game right now that can compare to Warwick. You get the scent, they're half HP, or you prep the W, and you just run at them and you start barking at your screen, and then you kill them. Like that's how it is on Warwick. And honestly, Warwick is in a good place now because you just can fight everything and you'll win if you know your champion, and then that's going to give you a good way to snowball the game as you want it. It's the same as before. You're easy to 1v1. You win literally everything. You can gank well at 6 and literally secure all the objectives while staying healthy, which has been sort of a problem with some of these junglers, that you can't really clear the objectives. You'll kind of be low. Like Jarvan, for example, gets kind of low. So our next champion is going to be Gwen, and Gwen is actually like sort of underrated at the moment again. So Gwen was S tier before, and then she sort of, dropped down, and now she's coming back up. So you would think in a fast-paced game where we're talking about fighting, you wouldn't want to play Gwen because Gwen is sort of a full clear jungler. But overall, it's just full clear 2 times, get like a little bit more resources, get level 6, and then fight. Because your Gwen 6, if you play it well, is literally the same as beating any OP 1v1 jungler. Like, you can beat the Wukong, you can beat the Amumu, you can beat the Nocturne, you can beat so many junglers. Gwen is very, very powerful, and if you snowball on the champion, you get 1 or 2 kills, and on top of that, like, you get some objectives, you get your game rolling, you'll be able to scale into infinity and beyond, and snowball into infinity and beyond. There's a lot of potential with Gwen if you guys want an AP jungler. Now, guys, let's take a look at Shyvana. Shyvana is honestly always going to be, like, my baby champion. Like, I think this champion, if you guys want LP, and you guys, like, it's a little bit harder to learn, but you guys want LP, Shyvana is, like, still good. It's still good, still great. You need a lot of discipline, and you need a lot of, like, thinking on how to make it work. Not as OP as before, not SSS plus tier, like Udyr as well, which we'll talk about in a second, but still very, very strong champion. You need to, still buy the same build. It's like Shojin, Landry's, and you do your thing on the champion. You land your E's in fights, and you win the game. But she's definitely not S tier, and I wouldn't say she's worse enough to be in B tier because she's pretty relatively easy. So for Udyr, guys, Udyr has gotten nerfed a lot in the past, but if you're trying to make it to literally Diamond or Masters alone, the champion is still very strong. You actually still do an insane amount of damage, and the same thing with Amumu. Abyssal Mask got buffed here as well, so like, you're actually going to go Leandries into Abyssal and just one-shot people. I recently played an Udyr game where I was just like, wow, I deal so much damage. So you can snowball hard, you can deal damage, you can, just get objective control, which is really, really important right now. Alright, guys, for Dr. Mundo here, Dr. Mundo is literally so similar to Skarner. You want to fight a lot, like, you can stack Heartsteel. You're really tanky right now, so tank meta is really, really powerful. The difference about Mundo compared to Skarner is the fact that Mundo takes a little more skill. You need to know how to use your Qs, you need to know how to use your auto E's, you need to know how tanky you are with your ultimate, your passive, and everything. So it's actually very different compared to Skarner, which is why Skarner's up there and Mundo's down here. Alright, guys, let's jump into the B tier. So I'll say this every single time. The B and C tier, I just put them here anyways. And if you guys are not seeing some of the champions that you guys like love and are trying to talk about, then that's like because that they're just D or not even worth mentioning here. So the B and C tier champions are just so you guys understand like where these guys belong. I'll still talk about them and explain why they're there, but I wouldn't recommend you guys play any of them. I'll be 100% honest. Play the S or A tier champions unless you absolutely love the B or C tier champs. And this is just purely decline at the end of the day. Alright, so our first champion in the B tier is going to be Kindred. So Kindred is great right now because of how much fighting there is in the game. It's really easy to get high marks, and I recently will be posting a Kindred games where I'm getting a lot of marks. It's because there's so much fighting going on right now, and each mark is just like, let's say it's worth like 250 to 300 gold just for having marks. So you guys gotta like put that into perspective. It's worth a lot of gold to have marks. So the champ is always great at snowballing, but with the new meta going on, you fights, you're gonna be snowballing even harder. The only difference about Kindred though, and the concern, like I've always said, is like the intensive mechanics you need to make Kindred work. So guys, like Kindred's much more difficult than everything else, but if you can get past the mechanics and make it work, then you'll clear well, you'll fight well, you'll outscale champions, you'll win every objective, you'll outrange everyone, you'll just 1v9 the game. Our next champion here is going to be Karthus. So Karthus has this new rune called the Arcanist, and it's very, very broken. You have Arcanist and Ultimate Hunter. When you Ultimate Hunter stack 5 out of 5, and Arcanist, you're going to deal so much damage. You're going to ult literally so quickly. Overall, Karthus has been pretty underrated, and I think it's hard to land your Qs. But now that you have Arcanist, you can sort of spam your ulti even more, so you don't have to really land Qs. The champ literally clears fast, you snowball well, you can fight a lot and just get a lot of gold. Karthus is one of those champions where you die 10 times and you get 10 kills, and you're more powerful than everyone else in the game. So you get your items, which is going to be like Blackfire Torch, Shadow Flame, Death Cap, Void Staff as well, 3rd, 4th, the ability MR. And like you just go in, die, get a kill, and go in, die, get a kill after you farm your camps. And you're actually really, really, really powerful. Next champion here is going to be Hecarim. So Hecarim is very, very easy to play overall. Sometimes mechanics in the mid-game fights can be difficult, but he clears quickly, he moves around the map quickly, he deals a lot of damage. So honestly, guys, Hecarim is really powerful because a lot of junglers have to choose whether they want to gank or farm. And because of how fast the champ can clear, you can actually end up doing both of them. And you also are like able to sort of carry fights with your W and ultimate, and just just how quick you are to do things. The reason why like I don't put them in A or S tiers is simply because those champions in A and S like I think are just slightly better. Hecarim is good, but not good enough to go up there. Now, Nunu here is literally the champion we love to see. It's literally just like Warwick. With how much fighting is going on the map, if you pick Nunu, you'll almost guarantee you have like 10 assists by 15 minutes. Like, you'll just snowball in every single lane and get assists. And the laners, like, the laners think that like it's a snow fight, and they want to just like pick up the snowball that Nunu's trying to give them. So if you show up to the lane with Nunu snowball, like you actually like they'll die for you. Like, they'll give you the kill. So literally, this champion is so stupid because you'll get so many kills, and objectives are really OP to take as well. Like, you have guaranteed 2,000 damage smite with your Q smite or more, and then like it's like the most broken jungler for that. You literally just chomp things like Kesha would, and yeah. Now, the problem with this champion, though, guys, is you can't really solo carry games. Even if you're going the full AP build, even if you're going the tank build, like, it's hard to solo carry. You can make it really, really far by working on your laners, but at the end of the day, it's sort of difficult to carry. Now, Lillia is just like Hecarim, but overall, she's been getting nerfed. Her ulti got nerfed, her passive got nerfed, a lot of her kit got nerfed overall. She can do what Hecarim can do, which is farm quickly, move around the map quickly, and gank. But the gank pressure from Lillia compared to Hecarim is a bit different. And, overall, she's very similar to the S tier champions because she is very, very, very ult-reliant in terms of fighting. And, like, that's what sort of makes her sort of worse because she got nerfed, she doesn't scale as hard, and she's very ult-reliant. So, it can be hard to function on Lillia, but if you do get a lead early, you can absolutely take over the game. You can have very, very high impact on the map. You can counter jungle. You can do all sorts of things on Lillia. Alright, guys, so Kayn has been really, really, really popular because of Karthus tweeting about new builds. This champion might have a little bit of a mini resurgence because of all these new builds that Karthus has been, putting in, and I think they're actually really good. I've personally tried them. I absolutely love Kayn. It's the champion I used hit challenger for the first time after watching all of Karthus' content. So it's like the lethality voltaic like sword into like Sterax for high damage and tanky, and then the Shadow Kayn is also just really, really powerful, broken as hell. Really good in solo queue because you can just drop 20 bombs, drop 20 bombs, drop 20 bombs. The difficulty with Kayn, though, guys, is some of your mechanics on Kayn is just not good, not it. So you need to really study the mechanics behind Kayn. Next champion here is going to be Zac. So Zac is actually like hidden Z tier champion. The problem with Zac is it just sort of difficult to learn, sort of difficult to like understand, and there's not enough Zac content out there. But it's an OP champion. It's truly OP. You can literally clear quicker than a lot of junglers. Your gank is OP. You're tanky. You one-shot people as well. Like, it's so hard to deal with because you're passive. If you're looking for a champion like a Amumu that's not a Amumu, like, we can actually like put Zac right under a Amumu because this champion is freaking cool, bro. The reason why he's down here is because of how difficult he is to learn. Zac is very difficult to learn. I'll be 100% honest. Even for myself, when I tried learning Zac, I was like, dude, I need a lot more games. It's not like you can play it 5 times like a Amumu. You need to play a lot of it. Alright, let's talk about Elise here, guys. So Elise is a very, very, very strong early game jungler. She's great at 1v1ing. She has good gank potential, good burst potential. She plays to snowball the game. And guys, it's really short and sweet. Elise is amazing, but very hard to close out games in the mid to late game. You will have difficulty figuring that out. And honestly, I just recommend playing an easier champion. It's fun, but not as easy. So guys, for Ivern, we only want to play him if you're going to one-trick him. So you'll see all the win rates on Ivern now is actually significantly low. But the thing is, if you can one-trick Ivern, the reason why Ivern's not the worst every time is because the one-tricks actually still are making him work. And there's a few good content creators that actually are consistently challenger as Ivern. So you can actually learn from those people who make content. Ivern is like more skilled than just pressing E on your Q or on your teammates. You need to understand how to control 2 characters at once with Daisy. Daisy's so powerful. You need to understand how to use your Qs and combo everything to catch people off guard. And yeah, so Ivern's pretty powerful, but it's only this rank if you are going to one-trick him. Otherwise, he belongs in very, very, very low tier. Next champion here is going to be Reksai. So with Reksai is pretty much what we describe as the Draven of the jungle, where you are going to be really strong in the early game, just like Elise, and you can guarantee fights, you can guarantee good, like, positive things to happen. And now that objectives matter more and feats matter more, Reksai has become a bit stronger because you can snowball, accelerate the game, and you'll be, much more impactful because early matters a bit more. So you need to play to snowball, and you need to have a successful early game. If you don't, you'll lose. But now that feats are around, it's actually a little bit better now that you have Reksai. Alright guys, we have Kha'Zix and Rengar here in the C tier. So these champions are sort of not at amazing right now because everyone is building tab eyes and they're buffed with Feat of Strength, so if they get the feats as well, you're sort of miserable. I mean, Mel exists in the game too now, so you literally just deal no damage. I saw a clip on that on Twitter. It's actually miserable. So honestly, only play these champions if you really truly enjoy one-tricking them. They're fun, they can be powerful, especially specific compositions. But overall, like if you're playing against like even like 1 or 2 bruisers, or even champions who build some defensive, you're like dealing significantly less damage, and it hurts your champion a lot. So Graves, guys, has been nerfed over and over and over, guys, and the game feels very fast-paced. So pretty much the overall state of Graves is just not as good as it was before because you have to manage farming and ganking at the same time, and Graves can't really do both. Graves has to choose one or the other, and if you choose to farm, the enemy will gank, complete the snowball, complete the feats, and if you choose to gank, then what happens is the enemy jungler can farm and gank or match, and just like people are just faster. Graves is a champion that it just doesn't have enough speed, but the fighting is good on Graves. So you fight things and you outplay them, then yes, you can pick up steam and go. But you also have to add the fact that you're not the highest elo, and most players, myself included, I actually never played Graves as a pro player because I was like, dude, the champion's fucking hard, man. It's a difficult champion. Next champion we have here is Zyra. So Zyra is sort of an underrated champion, and the win rate doesn't really show it. Like, mechanically, it's actually very easy. You place down plants in a fight. In low elo, you don't realize, even in higher elo, you don't realize that your plants will deal like 3 to 4k damage per fight. You have a godlike clear speed, and she's really unique. So if you want that unique champion like Scion Jungle or something, like you can always consider playing good old friend Zyra. Next champion we have here is going to be Diana. So Diana is good at clearing, great at team fighting, and really just an ult-dependent champion overall. So Diana is, powerful if you are understanding of her limits. If you know how to use your QE flash and your ult, your E flash, she can be really strong, but she's also just difficult. A lot of people don't know the range, don't know the limits. It takes a while to really learn the champion, guys, so that's why I wouldn't personally recommend that champion. Next champion here is going to be Master Yi, and Master Yi was actually buffed on this new patch here as well. So this champion is actually sort of deserving of B tier, maybe even a little higher, especially if you're lower rank. The champion is easy to play. You have a really high payoff. You can 1v9 games and actually get an extremely good early game lead. But the thing is about Master Yi is if they have CC or they're aware of how to shut down Master Yi, you'll be stomped pretty easily. But in lower ranks, you can easily push to Emerald, easily push to Diamond, especially because they recently buffed Master Yi. So I could see this champion arguably go even higher than where we currently have it. So here in this list, we have a fun champion, which is going to be our best friend Neeko. So Neeko is a very unique champion. No one really plays her, and it's not easy to learn. So honestly, we could even argue Neeko is like a D tier champion. The reason why I'm putting Neeko here is because Neeko is a fun-ish champion that has potential because it's just like a Amumu. She's overall not bad, and she has a pretty good clear speed. I would say give Neeko a shot because you can absolutely 1v9 games. This champion, when it was first released as a jungler, Gwen was actually spamming it. When honestly people were on edge, is it good or bad? And Gwen was spamming it. So just like Zyra, she's potentially something you can look to play. Now we have Briar next year, guys, and honestly, Briar F tier champion. I hate Briar. I absolutely despise this champion. I think she's a good stat checker. She's a good she's decent at what she does, which is stat check. But losing control of your character, I do not enjoy that mechanic at all. I don't. Especially if you're a lower ranked player. How can you manage that? It's so difficult. Me as a high ranked player, as a pro player, as a challenger player, I still struggle with that. So it's okay. Briar is just one of those champions that you can, if you're really good, you're one trick, you're really good, you can make it work. But overall, man, I don't like the champion. Alright guys, our next champion here is going to be Rumble. So this is another like only play if you're one trick. Technically, Rumble has a lot of potential. You have insane bursts, you can snowball high, but you need to be like challenger level at this champion. There was a meta at some point during pro play where Rumble was broken and I could not function on the champion. Very difficult, but actually try it and you'll be like, wait, I one-shot camps, I overheat, I one-shot camps, I one-shot champions, I one-shot everything. You do a lot of damage. Next, we have Brand here. So Brand is a very strong team fighter. You clear camps quickly. The thing about Brand, though, is you don't even want to fight too hard early. You want to get level 6, you want to get items. It sort of sucks because you want to do that in the early game right now for feats. And just in general, like, fighting is nice. And you don't really 1v9 the game as hard as like a Gwen does, for example. Next champion we have here is Mr. Fiddlesticks. So Fiddlesticks' ultimate can literally 1v9 any type of game you play. The ability to be so far behind and then ult is just always going to keep him like relatively high on lists. You never really want to fight with your ultimate down. Now the thing is, like, why is he not B, A, or S tier when Fiddlesticks can just 1v9 games? The simple reason is because Fiddlesticks is very difficult to find the proper angles. Even Ludwig, for example, just gave up Fiddlesticks because he realized eventually, like, if Fiddlesticks is fun, it's great, carry potential, but you can't do it because it's hard to find those angles. I personally don't recommend Fiddlesticks unless you're willing to invest a lot of time with the champion. Next we have here is Pantheon. So everyone is probably coming here, Pantheon, why is it C? I'm Perry, what's going... Guys, first things first, we're seeing in pro play, don't be fooled by LPL. Like, don't be fooled. He's being played in pro play right now. Don't be fooled. And people are seeing him playing solo queue. People like PoBuilder's playing it or whoever else is playing it. Guys, Pantheon's a very one-dimensional champion. You get outscaled pretty dang easily. Overall, Pantheon is just like a decently strong champion and can 1v9 games, but why play Pantheon when you can play a champion like Viego or Xin Zhao or even Wukong? There's just better champions, which is sort of how these tier lists work. It's like, is Pantheon bad? Is Kha'Zix bad? It's like, compared to other champions in the jungle tier list, there's just better. So no champion in the game is inherently bad. Everyone does something well. Pantheon does some things well, and that's why Pantheon exists for some reason. But it's just worse than other champions, so I don't recommend Pantheon at all. It's very one-dimensional. You sort of get outscaled pretty hard as well. Next here, guys, is our boy Rammus, the little turtle tank shell dude. I don't even know. You know, if they pick a lot of AD, you know, Rammus is OP. So hope they pick AD and pick Rammus. Otherwise, champions like, you know, probably should be in the counter tier if anything. But, you know, honestly, you know, I could see this champion working to counter like a Viego, for example, or a Xin Zhao. Like, even just like one champion to counter can be pretty good. Next year, we have Bel'Veth, the queen herself. This champion is honestly one of my most hated champions in my entire pro career journey because there's a few players who are just so good at this champion. I hate it. Only player if you're going to one-trick her, to be honest. You know, she's very difficult. She can go all the way up to A tier if you're really good at the champion with get a snowball. Unique kit. You have 5 Qs. Like, this kit is crazy. You're getting 5 Qs. Your E has execute. Your E has damage reduction. Your W has a knock-up. Your ulti has a slow, true damage. So much to this champion. You can go through walls. Like, what does this champion miss? Nothing. Bel'Veth is really powerful, but it's not too easy. Like, even for me, I'm like, dang, this champion's fucking hard. Next champion here is going to be Nidalee. Nidalee is just a terrible champion. Like, terrible champion. You have to hope your teammates pick CC, or you can hope that you land spears. I don't land skill shots. I admit I won't land them. So I don't play Nidalee, and I don't recommend anyone play Nidalee. I don't recommend anyone, unless you literally just have like aimbot, and you just like will land everything. Maybe then play Nidalee, but this champion is just so difficult to play overall. You have 6 spells, plus you had to like micromanage your ultimates, and there's just so much to do on this champion. Next year we have Vi. So Vi is strong overall. She has a good ultimate. She guarantees picks. She has nice damage. She's pretty good. The problem is she's just a worse version of Jarvan in almost every single way. There's no reason to pick Vi when you can pick Jarvan. Jarvan just is superior in terms of damage, in terms of like fighting, killing multiple people, ulting multiple people, and just doing everything that Vi does, but better. Alright guys, and last but not least, I'm just going to really quickly talk about Evelynn. So Evelynn has been placed in the D tier here, but with the recent buffs, and after I played a game of Evelynn, I think she actually deserves at least C or even maybe B tier. The thing about Evelynn though, guys, is Evelynn is a hard champion to 1v9 games. It's very difficult because you can go for one pick and then sort of either die or be useless afterwards. You need a lot of brain space, just like Fiddlesticks, to make the champion work, which is why I don't recommend lower elo players to play this champion in general. All right, guys, for my final thoughts, just overall on the new season, on the new patch, the new meta, what you guys need to understand is I always mention this, that you can use this tier list to sort of decide what elo, like what champions you want to play in your elo or whatever. But at the end of the day, play what you enjoy, play what you know you're good at, and just commit to a champion. If you have hundreds of thousands of games on one champion, then commit. Like, honestly, that's the best thing that I did for myself when I hit rank 1, was to commit to a champion. Eventually, like, these D tier champions and counter tier champions will be overcapped in the new season, but I actually have an old video where I talk about those. If you want to see them, then you can take a look at that. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace, peace.